Welcome back to the channel. We're back with our Final Fantasy Commander deck profile today with ViVi Ornitier. For 3 mana, you get a 0-3 that could add X mana of any combination of red or blue to your mana pool, depending on ViVi's power. So, you want plenty of ways to power up ViVi along with casting plenty of spells, because whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on ViVi and deal 1 damage to each opponent, allowing you to keep on getting more power, to get more mana, to get more spells, to get more power. So that's the general overview of what we're trying to do with the deck. We've already covered this commander in a more full power version when the set was first being announced, but this one's a more budget friendly version of the deck. We do have some like 17, 18, $80 cards with VV specifically, so like there are definitely some removals here, but like say people already pulled VV from a pack, this should be a pretty fun build. But let's get into it card by card. We had Arcane Signet for some mana because we can't just rely on VV. We need a way to get VV out a little bit quicker before people could destroy us before we even get to. Is it Signet for that mana as well? Red Mage's Rapier gets +2/+0 anytime we cast an instant or sorcery spell. Oh, sorry, non-creature spell, allowing us to get the additional power onto VV in order to get the additional mana anytime. So basically get 3 additional mana anytime we cast a non-creature spell based on this plus VV's ability. Soul Ring for that mana, Swiftfoot Boots, in order for a little bit of protection there for VV, along with some of our other abilities that we want to happen the turn they come down. Talisman of Creativity for that mana, and Wayfarer's Bauble is once again, we're in red-blue. We need some ways to get mana. For our creatures, we only have 17 total. We have Archmage Eternatus. For 4 mana, you get a 2/2 that allows you to draw a card anytime you cast an instant or sorcery. We're going to be going through plenty of instant sorceries since we're going to have plenty of mana, but we want to make sure we keep having things to spend that mana on. So let's keep on drawing cards to make sure we keep doing it. Same new Archmage of Runes, except it's 3/6 for 5, and it also reduces your instant sorcery spells by 1, making it even cheaper to cast your instant sorceries off that. Balmore, Battle Mage Captain. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains trample to end the turn. So you have this, Red Mage's Rapier, and VV on the board. That's +4 power for VV, allowing you to get that 4 mana off of it. Coruscation Mage, 2, and it has Offspring for 2, for a 2/2 and a 1/1 essentially. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent, but since you're going to be using Offspring cost, you're going to get 2 off that. Firebrand Archer, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, deal damage to each opponent. We want to make sure we have a way to actually deal damage to our opponent, not just VV, so we can make sure we have a way to actually win a game and not just cast a bunch of spells. Goblin Electromancer, instead of sorcery spells, cost 1 less to cast. We want a little bit of cost reduction. While we have the mana, we want to make sure that we could keep on having more stuff to cast. Gutter Snipe, more damage to our opponent anytime we cast our instant sorcery spells. This time we're dealing 2. Castig Flame Breather, whenever a non-creature spell, deal 1 damage to each opponent. I think you're noticing a little bit of a theme now. We're dealing 1 damage to our opponent every time we cast an instant sorcery, plus whatever else that we have on the board. Mystidian Elder, whenever you cast whenever this creature enters, create a 0/1 black wizard, which has the ability to deal 1 damage anytime you cast a non-creature spell. We like seeing it. Niv Mizzet Parun, can be countered flying. Whenever you draw a card, deal 1 damage to any target. I mean, a little bit of removal there, especially if our opponent's playing like Kefka or something. Whenever a player casts an instant sorcery spell, draw a card. That's us, that's our opponent, that's 1 damage to everyone. And then we can go infinite if we have that, and Niv Mizzet Visionary on the board. You have no maximum hand size. Whenever a source would deal non-combat damage to an opponent, draw that many cards, and we'll definitely have the mana there off of VV. Stormcatch Mentor, prowess, instant sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast, and it has haste. The haste we don't really care about. But you know, if we storm off the same turn we get this down, you can still swing in with it, but it's mostly that cost reduction that we're looking for off this one. Talrand Sky Summoner, whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, get a 2/2 blue drake with flying. You know, we want to make sure we have enough protection here. This way, when our opponent starts swinging in on us, we have something to block with. Tandem Lookout, Soulbound, as long as this is paired with another creature, each of those creatures has whenever this creature deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. So, anytime we cast an instant sorcery spell, we draw a card off of VV, because it'll keep dealing that 1 damage to each opponent. Well, not each opponent. Is it a target opponent? To each opponent, actually. But it's only any time it deals damage. Emperor Palamecia, a little bit more mana off that. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with 4 or greater, get a +1/+1 counter, and if you cast 4 of those, you get to transform it. This way, whenever it attacks, it deals damage equal to the number of instant sorceries in your graveyard. It's just fitting for like the theme that we're going for. It's 35 cents, especially for its budget build. It helps out a whole bunch. Wayron, Voice of Duality. When you cast an sorcerer spell, put +1 counter, just gets +1/+1, and you make it so that your instant sorcery spells cause abilities happen twice rather than just once, giving those two +1/+1 counters onto ViVi, giving you the 2 draw power off Niv Mizzet, giving you the 4 damage off of Gutter Snap, all the fun stuff there. Young Pyromancer, and getting 2 1/1 red elemental tokens with Young Pyromancer if you have a run on the battlefield, but normally just get the 1. On to the enchantments, which are also non-creature spells. Basically, everything else from here on out is non-creature spell. Curiosity, enchant creature, deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. We like seeing that draw power. We like to make sure that we keep on drawing cards so we keep having things to cast. Fire Inscription, Ring tempts you, don't really care about that part, but whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, deal 2 damage to each opponent. Only 79 cents to keep that burn going on your opponent. This one is definitely one you could cut because I didn't realize it's jumped up this high in price. Flash enchant creature deals damage to an opponent. You may draw cards. The same thing as Curiosity, just 2 more mana, but it has flash, which your opponent won't see coming. On to the second half of the deck, as always, we'll scroll over. There we go. We have a Braid. Deal 3 damage to target creature, destroy target artifact. A little bit of removal helps out. As always, these are instant sorceries that we'll be going through. Offer you can't refuse. Counter spells. This way, when our opponent tries to cast their removal to remove our ViVi, we make so it doesn't get removed, and we get more power on ViVi off of that, which means more mana off of ViVi off that. That's a reason for a lot of our counter spells. Same with Arcane Denial. Big score. Discard a card, draw 2 cards, create 2 treasure tokens, make so you have plenty of mana to keep on going with your spells on a future turn, or this turn, because they don't enter tapped. Brainstorm, cheap spell that allows you to look at top 3, put 2 back, not necessarily from those 3, but any 2 from your hand. If you have 6 lands in your hand, draw 3, put 2 of those lands back, and then, get that +1/+1 counter on ViVi, and cast those instant sorceries that you have in your hand instead. Cast Warp for just a little bit of removal, but sometimes it may just help if we cast Warp one of our own things to see what we can get off the top. Consider Surveil 1, draw a card. Once again, we like some cheap spells in the stack in order to make sure that we could get ViVi up in that power, to make sure that we could, deal more damage, get more power, get more spells. Counterspell for a counterspell. Fire Magic, a little bit of a board wipe. Deal 1 damage to each creature, 2 damage to each creature, 3 damage to each creature, actually, depending on how much mana you want to spend for it. It could be a board wipe, normally just gets rid of a whole bunch of tokens, but could still come in handy. Fist of Flame, draw a card until end of turn, target creature control gets trampled, +1/+0, and, for each card you draw on this turn. So, we're going to be drawing plenty of cards, especially if you played like something like Brainstorm early in the turn. That's +3/+0 for ViVi, which is essentially +4/+1 based upon what's it called? Well, actually, it'll be +5/+1 because you'd already get the +1 off of your initial draw that you did for a turn. Then you can also trample in with ViVi and keep on going. Well, actually, +6/+1 because of the card you draw off this. Frantic Search, draw 2, discard 2, untap 3 lands, helps you get your mana back, helps you get more mana off of ViVi, and here it's there. Haste Magic, +3/+1. And also with Fist of Flame, that extra power you get to ViVi, you also get to use that 4 mana. Same thing with Haste Magic, +3/+1, gains haste. And you can exile top card of your library, may play it until your next end step, aka this turn if you cast it this turn, until the end of your next turn if you cast it during your opponent's turn. But overall, just a good card. And gives you that extra 4 power, 4 mana with ViVi. Is it charm? Counter target non-creature spell unless it's controlled place 2. Deal 2 damage to target creature, or draw 2, discard 2. Depends what we need at the time, but all pretty good abilities overall. Lightning Bolt for 3 extra damage, sometimes that final push that you need to get rid of your opponent. Or, a creature. Lindblom, Industrial Regency, another one of those 0/1 wizards that deal 1 damage every time you cast an instant or sorcery, or non-creature spell. Magic Damper, target creature control gains hexproof until end turn, untap it, allowing us to get that additional power onto ViVi, along with making so that we can protect ViVi a little bit. Negate for another protection counter spell there. Opt for another cheap spell that will get that additional power onto ViVi. Letting scry one, draw a card on top of that. Pongify for some removal, same with Rapid Hybridization, basically the same card, just one's an ape and one's a frog lizard. Snap, return target creature to its owner's hand, a little bit of removal, untap 2 lands, get that mana back, and get some additional mana since now you have that additional power onto ViVi. Thunder Magic, deal 2 damage to target creature, 4 damage to target creature, or 8 damage to target creature, depending on what you have the mana for, which playing ViVi will probably be quite a bit. As always, we'll just scroll through the lands at the end, because I always like to say you could spend as much as you want in lands or as little as you want in lands. Ral, Crackling Wit. Whenever he casts a non-creature spell, put a loyalty counter onto Ral, which, with all the mana we're going to be getting, we're going to have quite a bit. Draw 3 cards, discard 2 cards, super fun ability. And -10, draw 3 cards. You get an emblem with instant sorcery spells have Storm, aka we keep on going and going and going. Okay, we could get a lot of Blasphemous Acts if our opponent has plenty of creatures, because they'll have Storm if we cast enough stuff before that. But it's basically a board wipe. Enter the Enigma, draw a card, and target creature can't be blocked this turn. I mean, at a certain point, ViVi might get powerful enough where ViVi is enough to do commander damage to your opponent with that 21, so let's have it not be blocked. Expressive Iteration, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, put one on the bottom of your library, and exile. Wait, sorry. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, one of them into your hand, one of them on the bottom, and the other into exile. You may play the exile card this turn. Super fun ability, keeps getting us more, basically draws us 2 that we could cast this turn, and as long as we have ViVi on the board, we'll have that mana. Fatal Looting, draw 2, discard 2, flashback, do it again, keep getting that more power onto ViVi, going neutral on hand size. Gataxian Probe, look at target player's hand, draw a card, a little bit of knowledge there, a little bit of draw power, a free spell essentially for 2 life, giving you additional mana off of ViVi. Grape Shot, this is basically one of our win conditions. Deal 1 damage to any target. Storm, keep on going based upon the amount of spells that we cast. And if we had Ral, that's Storm that we get with it. Mystic's Mastery, we're going to pay the 8 to overload it and cast all of our instant sorceries from our graveyard again. Past and Flames, each instant sorcery in your graveyard has flashback until end turn. It's equal to its mana cost, but still, that is quite the useful ability. Because we could basically have all that mana with ViVi in order to get more power onto ViVi to keep getting more spells out of our graveyard. Ponder, look at top 3, put 2 them back in any order, then draw a card. Basically, get whatever card we want out of the top 3. It's a cheap spell for only 1 mana, getting that power onto ViVi. Preordain, discard 2, draw 1, get that additional power into ViVi. Once again, another cheap card, basically the same thing as Ponder. Serum Visions, draw a card, discard 2. Once again, very similar, just different order that you're doing it in. Strike it rich, create a treasure token. You go neutral on mana with these, basically with ViVi's ability. Or this one you go positive, because now you're getting a treasure token. And Vandal Blast to destroy all artifacts for all those equipment decks that are coming out of the woodworks with Final Fantasy. But that's the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have another commander that you want to see a deck profile for, make sure you leave it down there in the comment section. But I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a great rest of the day.